everyone, I am here to watch back the Splatoon 3 Direct. I did this with Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, which had some egregiously bad examples, such as the echolocator circling the reticle and the recon stackable ability for Splatoon 2. I don't think we're going to find anything egregious this time, but I haven't watched this since launch, so it's a good way to look back at how they showed off the game. Some things that aged well, some things that didn't. And just off of pure memory, I already have some things that I think I'm going to want to talk about that I'm going to find interesting, especially since this comes with the perspective of, like, this is kind of when my channel started blowing up. I have a lot of things that I can talk about from this time. So, yeah. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's go. Is this, like, the only time we've seen the Squid Research Lab? Because I think it is. Okay, I want to talk about this here while we're here with Mincemeat, okay? So, I remember there's some old clip of me saying that Mincemeat might be good. And in general, if you watch back people watching the Direct in general, they're not going to have that many comments on the stages. You might be curious why. And I will say, like, one thing that I remember that caught me by surprise when the game came out and they don't really talk about. When people saw walls like this, most people assumed these were just inkable walls. Because, like, that's what was intuitive at the time. So, people just thought you could paint this. Like, I remember thinking you could paint this at first, right? I think partway into the game I realized it. I don't know if I commented on it. But, like, especially all the way back watching this, I just go, oh, okay, no one's painted this wall yet. Because, like, you know, that's just what we'd assume. In Splatoon 2, this would just be a paintable wall. As much crap as I'll give Splatoon 2 stages, this would be a paintable wall in that game. So it was really funny looking at this and, like, we didn't realize it. But I'll have more to say when we get to the Splatoon 1 stages. Because that is something we did take notice of right away.
Inks the most in their color.
Or, not right away, obviously, on first viewing, people are just like, oh my god, Hammerhead's back. But, like, you know, watch it back and they're like, hey, this looks a little different. I mean, the stages are the same in the trailers as their launch version, but, like, obviously different than the ones we have right now.
The more infinite to refill. New techniques.
Also, I don't know if this, like, version of this song is available anywhere. Like, you heard that little guitar riff? I don't know if I've heard that in-game ever. Is that, like, some custom thing they have for this trailer, or is it actually available somewhere?
The Squid Surge to swim up walls.
This was the second time we saw Squid Surge, by the way. This was the second time. We saw the first one in the very first trailer. And this is literally the same surge spot. It's just with a bow instead of a range blaster. That's on Nintendo Switch Music. It's custom for the show. Cool. But it's like, this was legitimately the second time we saw it. It took a year and a half to get a second Squid Surge showcase. Which I think was a very bad thing. I said this before it came out. I think Squid Roll and Surge were very mishandled. These should have been showcased way more.
Have also been spotted.
I like that they show the attack parry thing. Like, this showcase is fine. It's just, this should have been talked about way sooner than this.
We've discovered.
Though, to be fair, I don't even think it glowed in the first trailer. I don't quite remember. So maybe parrying wasn't even a thing. But I know it was a thing by the third trailer.
Will take place.
Because that's when we talked about it. But yeah, like, Scorch look at this and we're like, you know, like, people don't think this is that big a deal. Like, it's different than the launch version, but it's like, okay, well, you can, yeah, I guess you have to paint the walls a little bit more. Especially because, remember, in the first trailer, this part of Scorch down here was paintable. So from our memory, it's like, oh, people painted this wall a year ago. So surely you can still paint it now. Because it would be really weird if you couldn't. But no.
Eeltail Alley.
Eeltail looked worse. I don't have a justification for Eeltail. I'll defend some stuff and not others. I don't know how we looked at Eeltail and thought it was better. I think it, like, graphically looks a bit better. I kind of like this version more. But in terms of the layout, no. This should have been our first clue that something was wrong. I remember speculation as well about, like, the undertow. If, like, well, now you can't because of the glass, but I remember people thought about how much this might change. It's kind of interesting. Hagglefish was the first time we saw it. I remember it having a positive reception because it looked better than Starfish, and I will say that I do think it is just straight up better than Starfish. Starfish was really bad. And, like, the sides of this map are limited, but they are better. They are definitely better.
A pier filled to the brim.
Yeah, there's no poles in these versions. I think Museum mostly survived its rework. This is where we could tell there were some changes, like the glass on the left side over there for the tower path was pretty obvious. Most of the changes we saw here were good, but this looked different than the version of museum we saw originally. The museum we got a bit ago was much closer to the Splatoon 1 variant, if I remember correctly. This is bridge. But yeah, we didn't know the museum jump was removed at this point. We weren't sure what happened.
This bridge
Then there's
connects
bridge.
Inkopolis to the Splatlands. After lots of
Yeah. This one just looked worse. I don't remember when I talked about if they ruined the stages. I don't remember if I talked about this as being worse, because I did do a video on, like, if they ruined stages, which I'll talk about in a second. I hope that I pointed out that this was definitely going to be worse, because, like, this should be obvious.
construction work,
But who
it's
knows?
finally open.
Like, there was so much hype around that time, kind of hard to focus on stuff like this. But yeah, I don't know. This just looks like... I mean, it's great that it's finished. It's a cool lore detail. I think that's what distracted people in the moment was like, oh, wow, the bridge is complete. That's such a cool lore detail. That's awesome. And then thinking about it, it's like, oh. And then Mahi. Okay. People noticed the islands. I remember commenting about the islands. I thought the rest of mid was fine. And yeah, I don't know how I thought that. I think I just assumed this was a lot bigger than it actually was. Because Mahi on launch, like pre-rework, was small. This was tiny, like even tinier than it looks here. I do like the new spawn region. I probably pointed that out, which is good. This was the only problem with S1 Mahi spawn, is that it was bad, so this was great. I still think like this part should be attached to S1 Mahi to make it like the best version. Wait, is there not even... Why is this missing? We found something different. Look. This big island is missing. And there's like this little bit over here. That's different. Oh yeah, we thought these were gonna be bounce pads. Dude, it would have been cool if they were bounce pads. I still think they should have been. Like, I'm not even a big put bounce fans in multiplayer type of thing, but look at where they're positioned. If you had to use the bounce pads to go up here, that would be legitimately so cool. Huge air? No, like, I guess this is like an incomplete version of it. Because, like, it's in this shot. So I'm guessing that shot is, like, a different time? I'm trying to look for something else. Yeah, it's like whenever the water drops, it's different. But here, without the water dropped, you can still see it. It still is the complete portion. But that's interesting. There's the first thing that we saw, right? Like, this is missing. This is the first error we've encountered. This is a mistake. It's supposed to be a thing here. There's no island over here. And then we just saw screenshots of these. And, like, back then, people didn't mind Sturgeon as much. I think Inkblot and Mako are, like, staple S2 maps, so people were fine with it. I saw Sturgeon as, like, okay, it at least has a gimmick. It has a gimmick, and it was fine in S2. This stage only works in S2. It does not work, like, without specials that make people move. And then people already knew Wahoo World was bad. Why is Wahoo dark? I don't know. I think... Oh yeah, this is an error too. You notice the beams over here? They're not purple. I guess this can really show that, like, even by this time, they were still finishing things up clearly. Like, you can still spot these little errors. Nothing as drastic as, like, the Gambit sub-abilities or anything. Sturgeon wasn't butchered. Sturgeon was always bad. It worked because of the game it was in. Unless you mean Sturgeon Rain, right? Because of the sponge and all that, which, like, yeah, I get it. Mincemeat also has different lighting in this screenshot. You might notice Mincemeat's lit a little differently. I think Mahi is also darker. Wait, Mahi's still missing the island down here, I think. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think there's no island over here still. I think this might even be slightly different in terms of lighting as well. It's like, you can see there's a bunch of different things that they were tweaking, I guess. Right side wall? Nah, that's just off screen. Oh, no, wait, no, you're right. On this side, there's no right wall. Good catch. Good catch, Ryan. Yeah, right over here, there's no right wall either. So, just more signs that things aren't completely done yet. And then we didn't know for Flounder. We had no idea about the right tunnel. Because you can see it's cut off. You can't tell there's no right tunnel over here. We wouldn't know. The rail's not here either, but I think that's just a version where there's no rail normally. But yeah, we can see Flounder. I still liked making Flounder shorter. And oh yeah, here's another one we couldn't see. Can't see that this wall isn't paintable on this side. So we saw they added a wall, but not that it's paintable. So that was hidden. This right side being paintable, again, might have assumed it would be, or at least they saw this and thought it might be okay, and then the trench being gone is hidden. Again, you can make the assumption from like this umbrella up here that's out of bounds, but you don't know for sure. Another thing we didn't know though is that this bottom right side, I don't think it's shown. Yeah, it's definitely not. This bottom right side is also way thinner. So unfortunately, a lot of the bad flounder changes were things we haven't seen. And if you look at Umami Ruins, this is just straight up a different stage. Umami Ruins is completely different. There's like this great path over here. There's a central area here, high ground, building cover. This middle part is like, we know this is all inkable walls. This was all paintable, all of it, all of it, all of it. It's really hard to see like what Umami would have been. I guess this like matches in the middle, and then this snipe area seems to cut off with the glass, but it's like, this is just straight up a different map. So people who said that Umami looked good from the direct, because it did. This, like, it didn't look amazing. It's still kind of narrow, but like this was a different map. Umami was super early into development. I'm willing to bet that Umami was probably like, if we go with the theory that they heavily changed stage design partway through, I'm willing to bet that Umami was developed a lot sooner, and that's why it came out later in the summertime instead of coming out recently, is that they massively had to change it, which we know they did. So that is interesting to think about. All right, enough about stages. Yeah, they didn't really show off Stringers much. They're like, yeah, it's in the game. We didn't really see it shooting at anything. We just saw the shot of them shooting. And then here's Splatana's, which we never knew about before. Now, I'm going to do a video on Tri-Stringer later. I don't know when that'll be out relative to this one. I do want to pose this question in chat while I'm here. Do you guys think that Splatana's should have been the flagship weapon for this game instead? I'm not having an opinion on this right now. I'm not stating my opinion. I'm just asking the question. Right? Okay, wow, it is like a unanimous agreement in chat. That's not what I expected. Someone said Stringers fit the 3 theme better, which I agree. I think that's probably a big factor, because like dualies fit 2. Anyway, something else to point out. I've mentioned this a little bit, but here's a good time to mention it all at once. If you go to Alterna, you'll notice that Tri-Stringer is there and Stamper is there, but Splatana, Wiper, and Reflux are not there. From what I can gather, okay, Splatana Stamper was the one that was developed first, which would explain why it's in Alterna. But I'm guessing, given, you know, accessibility problems, it has a low win rate in the random weapon challenge. It's considered one of the harder weapons in the game, even back then. I'm guessing in playtesting, Stamper was probably not the best introduction of the class, and so they swapped it with Wiper being the introductory weapon, which is, you know, what we have here, and what gets shown off over here. But that might also just be something that happened within development, which is kind of interesting. And then Reflux was like probably developed second. Not too hard to figure that out. I do wish Stamper and Reflux were available in the test fire though, because they weren't. We didn't get to play either of those. At this point, we only had like a picture or two of Stamper that they showed off. We knew it had a burst bomb, and we found out later it had caster. But yeah, I remember Joy sharing that with me at one point, and yeah, Stamper had very low development time. I'm pretty sure Stamper and Reflux don't exist. Oh. Yeah, there is some things that are changed in 1.0, but I'll be covering that in the meta history video. That comes out like 2 days after the stream, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But there will be a little blurb about the main thing that was different in 1.0. It's pretty funny. Okay, so Wiper's perception, I think, was ruined by this clip, right?
It's powerful as a long-range.
It's like, there's no reason to swim closer to this guy. I'm guessing, oh no wait, are they going for the, maybe they're going for the charge slash combo? Like charge slash to the horizontal, because that one taps? But I think the problem here is that they show off Wiper like it's exclusively a close range weapon. Like this is already splatter shot range right here.
Powerful as a long-range attack.
Right, I have less issues with this clip, like this shows off the dash slash, I think that one's fine. But this first clip makes it seem like this is a melee weapon. This outranges shooters on horizontal, it has more than dually Squelcher on vertical. And it had that back then. So I think this showcase is probably why people were like, man, this is probably a worse brush, because that's what it looks like from this way of fighting. You can't really, like, there's no real way to gauge how much the range is on this weapon. Because, like, even this shot hits the wall. So it's kind of hard to tell. I do wish they showed that off a little bit. That and, like, maybe ledge peeking would be cool. But, I mean, it is just the common theme of, like, Nintendo doesn't really showcase, you know, I'll say it. Doesn't really showcase good gameplay in these. Which I wish they would. I think there's probably some outdated mindset of like, oh no, we don't want people to like think the game is sweaty or anything, but it's like, show off what your weapon can do. People want to know a little bit about it. I'm not saying you have to go full-on competitive matches or anything, but like, show your weapon attacking from a maximum range. I feel like it's not that crazy, you know? Here we go.
Weapons that can help you claim even more turf.
Dude, this should have been the sign that they took out Splash with Caster right here.
Let's dive into the weapons.
You notice how this shot, this is recreating a zip from the second trailer, but it's with Octobrush. But like, if you watch back the second trailer, there is a zip that closely mirrors this pathing. So this is like a recreated shot, but they changed the weapon using it. I get if they found Splash to be a good crab weapon. Like, don't get me wrong, Splash Burst Crab is like a top 3 kits they put in the game. You know, next to like Stamper and Ballpoint or something. Like, genuinely some of the most perfect kits they've made. And this game has a lot of really good kits. But Caster should have been moved to the second kit. I truly don't know how Caster Splash not only got completely scrapped, but Caster on any shooter got completely scrapped. We do not have a zip shooter, which feels really weird, right? We have 3 whale shooters. Wait, we do? Yeah, we do. We have 3 shooters with Killer Whale. We have 0 with Caster. Again, special distribution, not a good job in this game. Not a good job at all.
Special weapons.
You can barely tell the old bow paint is bad here, though. Like, look how bad it is at turfing over the blue ink. Wait, hold on. You can count up here as well a little bit.
As the name implies.
Look how slowly that counter goes up once it catches up with, like, the previous amount of paint. I will say this direct does a really good job of, like, showcasing, you know, explaining things to new players to the series without, like, stopping the pacing very much. They're like, oh yeah, that's how you build special. You paint the floor. Easy. Don't spend a lot of time on it. They just stand still to die to whale, because, like, yeah, we can't show displacing people into a tri-stringer shot or something, right? Like, this isn't showing what the special actually does. It's not a killing special, it's displacement, and you need someone taking advantage of that. But the level of gameplay just doesn't make it that far, and I wish it would. Like, I just think, especially to outsiders, it would look so much better if the gameplay was, like, slightly, like, impressive. Just a little bit.
This is the Tacticooler. When it's activated...
So, we heard about this one before, I think. Or maybe it was right after where they dropped the 1-second respawn time. That had a lot of debate because it was, like, different in different translations. I think that showcase is mostly fine. Though, I mean, they really only talk about the mobility buffs. You can tell the intensify action if you, like, know enough about the game to see that the surges are faster. But, like, that's about it. Doesn't really talk about the respawn stuff like it does in the tweet. Okay, here's one time where I'm fine with people taking damage. This is people intentionally taking damage, but it has a purpose. The purpose is to show that Wave is a 3-hit kill.
And cause damage.
See? 1, 2, 3. Has a purpose.
The Reef Slider. Build up power, then charge into opponents who need a good splat.
Yeah, this looked much better from the showcase, right? Like, you just assume the end lag isn't crazy here, and it looks like a good special. We did not know. Because, like, he doesn't move after, so we're just like, oh, okay, this is what happens if you don't shoot. You know, like, curling has an animation, but it's not lag. You can end it early if you want. You don't have to sit through that. It's like, people are like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like if you don't, you know, move. Maybe the end lag isn't that bad. Nope. Nope, that's all lag. Ah, this clip. This clip right here. This sent shockwaves into the community. Why are you acting like Reef Slider's in S tier right now? Because I'm talking about the launch version of Slider. They made it good in a very stupid way. So yes, I know it's good now. I know. But it's different then. Alright, this thing. Okay. So, everyone who knew anything about Splatoon, even a lot of casual players, were not happy. Like, you could see, like, no reactions from so many different people, which is kind of funny. This also sparked me to do, like, an immediate follow-up on top of my analysis and try to break down the problems with Missile, which is also where most of my bad comments have come from. There are so many people with like just dodge missiles in the comments. It was insane. And I think back then I really tried to help explain to a few people too. I would not do that. Nowadays, I don't care. If you think that missiles are like fair and balanced back then like whatever. I don't care. But that video was very popular. A lot of my post-direct videos blew up, and this was one of them where I was like, okay, there was a big disconnect between people who understood that missiles coming back was bad and people who didn't. And so I had to do a video on it. I also remember, I don't know if I'll ever find this, I think it was a TikTok of like, it was like a few characters in Up, and it was like,
I don't want you here and I don't want you here. I'm stuck with you.
And that is like one of my favorite fucking memes about this game. I legitimately love that clip. Everything from like Kevin talking being a stingray to the missile's color change. It was so fucking good. Like that was a perfect example of it. It's like, well, at the end of the day though, out of the 3 horrid specials for that game, you know, Missile Armor Ray, this was the best choice to bring back. And I think now, with how they balanced missiles, I don't really mind it. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they're designed well. They're not. But whenever I talk about missiles, people still, like, react to them like they're this version of missiles that we got on launch, or like the version in Splatoon 2. Because even missiles here, I think, had a... No, I don't know if they had a reduced radius or not. I know, they were better. They were better. Sorry. This was the strongest version of missile, technically, which is another thing I forgot to talk about. Bomb defense was changed to sub-defense. Bomb defense prevented missile from doing 30 and 50. So this is technically a buffed version of missile in this game. However, later, you know, giant radius reduction, 15% for every single one, and a 10-second cooldown. Missiles after that are not a big deal. They are not designed well, but they're not horrible, and their balance is, like, totally fine. Even if the cooldown was reduced, it'd be totally fine. And I still see people talk about them like they're S2 missiles. That being said, they should not have brought them back. And I have another theory here I'm going to bring up. I have another one. I think that missiles were not planned to come back originally. I think the 5th Splatoon 2 special was supposed to be triple splashdown. And I don't think it was triple splashdown originally. Because we know Reef Slider is like partially reworked with Splashdown 2. But Splashdown isn't single player. I think that originally Splashdown was going to be put in the game. However, it became really clear by Endgame S2 how horrible Splashdown was, how it didn't work. And so that probably delayed/changed the rework on top of actual delays equals we're missing a special. And so to substitute it in, here's missiles. Why missiles the substitute? Because Whale was very clearly the successor to this special. Everything about Whale 5.1 feels like it's addressing missile in some way. So I think that this was put in last second. At the end of the day, if they had like the cooldown or radius nerf on launch, or both, if they tweaked it properly, I wouldn't have minded as much. But we did have to sit through a brief missile meta, even without any really strong missile options on launch. We had old, you know, not buffed horizontal Flingza, GooTuber, and like Reflux with no fighting capabilities compared to what it has now. But like the rest of this lineup, Jetpack, awesome. Storm? Sure. Oh, by the way, here's another thing. Because I remember talking about this in my analysis. This is a Vunder, or a Sunder. I think it's a Sunder. It's so hard to get the frame. Oh, no, wait, it's after. That's what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, right here. I don't remember. I found out at the analysis. I don't remember which one it was. But I'm pretty sure this is Vunder. Or no, sorry, Sunder, judging by the handle. I think the handle's a little different. But yeah, this had rain. This got changed later. So here's your brief undercover with Inkstorm. That never happened. It didn't even get on any of the Brellas, which is a little sad. But there it is. Yeah, nobody shoots at Hammer. Of course they don't. Doesn't work. Hammer was a buggy mess, and they had to have known that by then. And then this is, this one's harder to tell as well, but this is Gold Arrow. This one actually kept it special, so that's cool. I like how the shot just sits in the booyah. And then we got some kits here, and I think all the kits here remain consistent, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one was a big one especially. It was Vunder? Okay, good to know. Oh yeah. God, I almost forgot. You can actually see Reflux right here. This is Reflux. This was our technically first time seeing it. I think by the time I did my analysis, we knew what Reflux was, so this wasn't special. But if we didn't know, then like someone, big detail to point out to be like, there's just another bow in here.
Weapons.
And then you can see Carbon's new model as well over here. Gold Dynamo top right. Oh,
These.
yeah, you can see it up there. I am so curious why Gold Dynamo is what they showed pretty much everywhere besides the spinning model. I don't know. It was such a mystery. Dude, I'm sorry. Everything about Gold Dynamo is so funny in retrospect. I know it was like painful for Dynamo players who just did not get their kit for a while and thought they would get it sooner. But like in hindsight, it's so fucking funny. It's like the biggest troll they've ever pulled off. They just showed Gold Dynamo since the beginning of the game, and it takes 9 months to come out. Or sorry, no, I think it took a year. I don't remember if it's a year or 9 months. But like, oh my god, it was so funny. In retrospect, it is hilarious. Oh yeah.
By the way,
I forget, do they show? Yeah, they show them doing rock, paper, scissors right here. Which we thought was just a cool detail, but this was actually the fest being shown off later. I really like that. That's neat. I don't know if I'm gonna have much to talk about this section. Also, I gotta say, like, the time they took to update the Inkling models and Octoling models in this game was so worth it. Like, look how good this looks. Like, the models are so much better in this game. Every time they do shots like these, or them standing in the plaza, you can tell how much improvement was put into it. And, like, obviously it allows for, like, emotes and all that stuff, but I think it's one of the most underrated improvements. I did not know this was a character. I'm gonna be real, I forgot about this guy. I had no idea this was an entirely separate character. I did not remember this person at all. Or Snail at all. Oh yeah, I mean, the game looks better in general, but I think the Inkling models are, like, the most noticeable people. Oh yeah, there's only 6 options in the shop at this point, obviously. Abilities and also weapons were one case where I was surprised, like, when watching it. It didn't really disappoint me, because there was a lot of other stuff, but, like, Splatoon 2 Direct showcased a lot of abilities and a lot of new weapons by comparison. It was very different here. Obviously, that all has its own trade-offs here, but, like, this was the only new ability we got. That's it. No, ability doubler's not new. I don't know how I thought it was. Yeah, this looks bad. This was bad. Yeah, here's the Rainmaker check. It's 2 feet away from mid, and there's 1 of them. Dude. Come on. Oh yeah, and the basket music is new here. This is the first time people got to realize there is now baseball music on the Clan Blitz baskets. And remember when Anarchy Battle Open was purely a casual thing and wasn't combined with League mode? Oh, we'll talk about it more, because they talk about League mode in this, that we never got it. We'll talk about that. The mode text is smaller? I didn't even really notice. Okay, small thing. Tower, Rain, and Clams are in the right order in Splatoon 3. In Splatoon 2, these aren't in the right order when you scroll through in a PB. It was one of the most small but irritating things that I remember. I'm just pointing that out. Oh yeah, no jukebox. Jukebox was under this. So we saw it, we knew it was there when we got the game, but right now, no jukebox. That corner is empty.
Now, let's...
Oh, also there's no lobby terminal here, for some reason. Maybe it's because they didn't want to show it off later, but I don't think that's the reason. I think they just forgot the lobby terminal at this shot. It's not there. There's no Marigold, too. I thought we saw Marigold earlier with the recon. Oh, yeah, she's not in this shot. Even here, you don't really get to see Tri-Stringer's bad paint because of the range. Also, everyone was just so happy you could use this while queuing. This was awesome. I love what they did with the training range. Yep. You couldn't guarantee Q and Turf on the same team until this game. Don't know why, but there you go. They said 3D holograms in their 2D. That's funny.
See these features for yourself?
Well, maybe these are 3D and like the ones in the game are 2D, like the when you're in the PB with someone. And then we're missing thing in the bottom right, obviously, but here we are. You can also see Splat Plus region there, but here you go, another big thing, replay mode. Wait, why is there a hit marker here? Oh, it hit someone down there. Also, RIP. Look at that old roller hitbox. Look at this. And then, yeah, you could see, obviously, you could get a lot of weapon kits here. This is where we saw Flings with Missile and some other stuff like that. Dude, it was also so cool when we got the test fire. You couldn't, like, play yet, but you could see people in the plaza, and that's how we found all the weapons. Before data miners found all of them. Mine?
We'll analyze.
That was fun. Dude, I miss some of this. I won't lie. Like, the speculation or talking about things. I especially miss, like, the second kit breakdowns. That was honestly my favorite. Just, like, being able to... The seagulls from Finding Nemo. Yeah, that was the clip name. Like, just being able to talk about it for a while and speculate, it was so cool. The game's in a great spot right now, but I miss that little bit of speculation and new stuff. R.I.P. everyone who wanted apartments.
One is yours, and the others belong to.
This was a good compromise. That being said, I want to hear the Splat 1 loading screen, see that room, and be able to customize it. It's too iconic. I want to be able to customize that one day. Yeah, everyone did the Moai statue in theirs. They got spammed. This is totally hacked. They totally modified this, dude. They gave themselves all the badge. Or not all of them, clearly. Also, really funny, like, there's rapid 5-star, but not 4-star. This is, like, just blatantly showcased, which is fine, obviously. But it's kind of funny to look at. People were so happy about this. They leaked Hero Shot. Everyone knew we were getting a Hero Shot. And there it is.
Unlock various items.
You know, I like it. It's kind of funny that, like, canonically, Inklings are just picking up on human trends. So, like, dabbing being so late is, like, canonically fine. But there it is. And then, yeah, we also got the Battle Pass. They said new catalog. A lot of reused catalogs. And the one at the 2-year mark. The 9th one, I'm not sure about. I'm gonna say this was not completely followed through. I'm gonna be honest. I think that we should have gotten a full catalog for Season 9. I remember this because I did a video on it kind of recently. There it is. So this mode was added in last second. Couldn't tell. I mean, it looks pretty good, all things considered. I still feel like this mode was very put in as like, hey, everyone's saying the game is the same. Could we put in something different? And there it is. The art is still the best part about this. Like, look at all these art pieces. Look at all this 2D art. Yeah, send your rivals that you can't play against for 6 months packing.
The Splatsville locals eagerly await your challenge.
And then, yeah, I don't know if Sheldon should have been the one showcased there. I think Sheldon looked a little off there. I remember some people talking about if, like, the model was off or something, or the lighting. There's just no lighting. Yeah, there you go.
A 1v1
See, some of y'all remember. This was also the only time they showed off this mode.
Be on the lookout for
This
more
was it.
details about table turf battle in the future.
That's it. They really do hide that tri-stringer long-range paint, man. They are not showing it anywhere. I was hoping we just missed it, but I don't know if they show it at this point. We're over halfway through this now, and it still is not long-range painted ones. There's Reef Slider. Still looking good. Good showcase on the Reef Slider. Ah, yes.
Next, the big shot.
Deltarune memes were at their peak here.
Be prepared for powerful
There were so many big shot edits. So many of them. Do they show off the other stage? Or is it just this one? I know we saw the other one in the trailer. And then I know they show the King Salmonid. Okay. Showing them fighting the King Salmonid is cool. This should have been shown in the Salmon Run trailer. They kind of left it at this cliffhanger. They should have shown you fighting it. This was the coolest thing they added to this mode. For like casual viewers, hey, look at them fight Godzilla. Like, yeah, you can put it together. I get it. But like, you're selling the game. I think they should have shown this. Made the fight look epic. I still really like the King fights. It's kind of funny that like Koho is like the worst of the bosses now. Like the other ones are way cooler. Like imagine if Boris was what was shown off with the screen.
These battles are under a time limit, so rack up
But yeah, this is all cool.
possible to drive them back.
Bro, we did not miss.
Big run. We believe this is when Salmonids invade the city in which Icklings and Octolings live.
Okay, is it anyone else or is that line read a little weird, right? Why in which Inklings and Octolings live? Why not just say Salmonids invade the city? I can't tell if that was added in post or what. This feels like... No, I'm not blaming the announcer. I don't know why y'all are blaming the announcer. Guys, this is, you know, this is Nintendo. Hey, play the Mario Kart
8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game.
Channel, you know? So, like, I'm guessing it was something to do with that where it's like, no, you have to say this is where Inklings and Octolings live. That has to be in the sentence. But like, it makes the sentence sound so funny. Like, what happened? This was such a cool shot. People put this as their banner. Like, this goes crazy as a banner, right?
Story mode is perfect for getting familiar with inking turf and using weapons, so newer players might want to try it out.
I'm fine with this wording. It's clearly not labeled as a tutorial, it's just labeled as good for new players. I think the showcase does a really good job of showing that this is not hero mode, like, without... you know, it's not the same as hero mode 1 and 2. It clearly took a lot of Octo expansion inspiration. That said, this is another case where more of this should have been shown the first time we saw it. Because the trailer was like a reference to the Splat 1 hero mode trailer. You know, the pacing and stuff was the same. But it kind of left people thinking like, wow, this just looks like another generic hero mode. And it's only here where you got to see it was different. I wish they did a better job with that prior.
Well, we've come this far. What awaits the Inklings and Octolings in the end? We hope you can witness the epic finale of this splat-tastic saga.
This wording confused so many people. So many people said, wait, this is the last Splatoon game because of this. So I'm gonna clarify. This is the last hero mode storyline thing. I don't even know if it'll be the last hero mode. I hope it is. I hope it's not labeled as that. But like the last Squidbeak Splatoon storyline is done here. You know, the story between Captain Cuttlefish and Octavio ends here. That's what's done. Nothing else. But some people legit was like, wow, this is the end of Splatoon. No. Which is good. Like, you have to wrap up characters here. We have too many. I think Splatoon 3 made it obvious that there was too many damn characters, right? So I think this is a good change.
We'd like to talk about other features that'll help you enjoy your splatting escapades even more in the Splatoon 3 game.
Yeah, like right there, you see the Splatoon 3 game. So like, they have the same thing with how you have to talk.
You can snap
Photo mode was cool. I love that they have a TikTok filter. I don't know, it's just kind of cool. I need to take a picture like that for my locker
Select your
sometime.
favorite
I haven't really
stages at any time.
decorated it.
Why not get familiar with each
No ramp. But yeah, you can see here even more like confusing stuff. It's like, oh, the wall's inkable. See? You can paint it on this side.
stage prior to battles.
Aha. Oh my god, it's our third ever Squid Surge! Just kidding, they showed it a few times prior. It will not happen, but I hope Splatnet 4 is heavily toned down. Like, I think having to use a phone for stuff is just not good. I'm fine with it being like an alternate way to like add friends or check weapon stats. It's fine for that. But like, I don't think it needs to be, hey man, check the shop. There might be gear to order. Make sure you keep checking the shop. Keep opening your phone every single day so that you can check the shops. Because there's unique main abilities here. Like, I don't want to do that. And like, even the stat stuff, if I could pull up my weapon stats or game stats on a website on a PC, I would never do it on a phone. Because it's inconvenient to look at them there anyway. That said, we will get a Splatnet 4. So, it's going to be probably even more important then. So, yeah. Here we go! By the way, this gameplay is actually good. This is like actual like higher level gameplay in this match. Like nothing insane. Like I'm not saying there's comp gameplay, but this is like probably S rank, like a S rank level play.
Following the game's launch, a new
like this match actually flows normally. People are doing reasonable things. Like the movement is pretty good, all things considered. The coordination is good. Like this looks like a normal match. You know, besides abandoning the checkpoint. But like, this is fine. This is all I want. I don't know why X Battle wasn't there on launch, and there it is. There it is, everybody. League Battle. Oops. It's still coming out, guys. So yeah, League Battle got like half turned into challenges, half turned into open. And I hate it. They clearly didn't want to do another queue, but now open is no longer a casual mode because people who want to sweat will grind power there. But then also there's the occasional monthly challenge, you know, which is a League Battle thing, which replaces a challenge instead of being gimmicky fun that people want in challenges. Nobody wins. Both modes are made worse by this. But it was very clear that they were like, okay, we can't put another queue in the game. There's already too many queues. Because X Battle is already 2 queues. This is 2 queues. Anarchy is 2 queues. All of that. It probably also affected Table Turf. But like, hey, maybe the problem is the rotation system forcing all these different queues in the first place. Just a thought. Anyway, there's the side order tease.
I'd like to wrap up this research report from the Squid Research Lab. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, see, this is another thing, Squid Research Report from the Squid Research Lab. Like, it's just how Nintendo makes people talk. And here we are, everybody.
Who are you supposed to be?
Deep Cut. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I like Deep Cut. I think their introduction was fine. I don't have many thoughts.
The youngsters of Splatsville own sea cucumber phones.
Did this mean anything? Is this the most pointless detail ever? Like, this did nothing, right? I kind of like the old Inkling phones better. Like, imagine holding this. Look at the back of them. Would you want to hold a phone like that? Imagine that in your pocket. It just jabs you in the thigh. It's in your pocket because it's got spikes on it. Like, not that the Inkling phones with the sharp arrows were much more comfortable either, but like, this is definitely a downgrade. It's just such a random thing to point out. Like, I don't think this needs to be said. Like, okay.
They can check the news while doing other activities, as shown here.
I guess that's why they pointed it out, because it's like, oh, it's okay, guys. They're canonically still watching the news on their phone. And here we go. They did a really good job making the Splatfest Plaza look good. Like, I think Splatsville at nighttime is the best looking thing in this series. Bar none. The only thing that maybe gives it some competition is the surface scene from Octo Expansion. But that holds a lot of story significance. That's not a fair comparison. This is visually amazing. It looks so good. It's legitimately insane.
This time around, there will be 3 teams to choose from. Splatfest.
I feel like people were very excited for that, but now I think people don't like 3 teams. I think Tricolor was a good idea. I hate 2 teams that are actually 1 team. These needed to be 3 teams. This needs to be 3v3v3. I want it to come back and be 3v3v3 or 4v4v4 if the Switch 2 is powerful enough. Or have 4 teams of 4 or something as an alternate mode. 3 ink colors on the screen looks amazing. But yeah, I think personally, when Splatoon 3 was coming out, I wanted a lot of Splatfest changes. And I think that that sentiment wasn't really popular back then. I thought Splatfest needed a major rework. And I think now, most people are agreeing that's the right take. We finally caught up. So at this point, I'm hoping people will come around to it. I wish Tricolor worked, though. Like, trust me, I wish it worked. Okay, Signal. I think the Signal's kind of boring. It's a cool advantage, but the comparison with this is the Princess Cannon and Hyper Bombs. I don't know one person who prefers this over the Princess Cannon and Hyper Bombs, yeah? I don't think anyone does. Okay, I'm gonna skip this, because we know what this is. The world premiere was cool. This was the first test fire I got to play. Very awesome. I'm not sitting through a news broadcast. It goes on for like a minute. Okay, I have to point this out. The teams who were invited to this did not know this was a thing. They didn't know! This is how they found out. If you were a team that qualified for this, you know, qualify, because this was just a different tournament randomly, you didn't know. You found out the same time as everyone else did. Like, surprise, you're going to PAX. Hopefully you can go in a month, right? Because we don't know. They did not know. So that's just... I find that so funny. But yeah, Synapse was in my voice chat. They were one of the people who went. I was like, yo, it's you. He's like, they're like, what? I'm like, I guess you're going to a tournament.
The Splatoon 3 Enter
Oh!
Invitational
Yo!
Tournament. This event
Is that for the top 4 teams?
September 5th at PAX West.
Probably.
Some of the top finishers from this summer's Splatoon 2
Yeah.
Ink Ultimate
Yeah.
Showdown
Yo.
will head to Seattle
Synapse.
and compete in
What?
North America's
Synapse.
first
What?
ever Splatoon
Wait, do you
not
know?
Invitational.
I did not know.
Official
Wow.
Nintendo versus Twitter
They just
account.
didn't tell you. They told the public before they told the teams.
We had no idea, bro. We had no idea.
Any champs?
I think, as far as I'm aware, everyone was able to go. So it worked out. But, like, oh my god. I'm guessing they didn't want to spoil it. They didn't want to tell the teams in case they, you know, you didn't want them to leak that this would happen. So I guess that's the safest way to go about it. But one last thing to point out. It's the Twitter. Twitter. Not X. Twitter. And the Twitter logo. I don't think this is going to get plugged next time. I don't think they're going to plug the account for this now. I don't think we're seeing it. And that's it, everybody. Alright, well, this ended up a lot longer than I thought. So, obviously, compared to the Splatoon 1 and 2 directs, there was a lot, you know, less of drastic mistakes or, like, having something there. Which is expected. The quality's gone up a lot. The presentation is, like, very well paced. They did a good job explaining it to new players. I think a lot of my critiques ended up just being critiques of the game itself that, you know, got brought up from watching this, and less so of the presentation itself. I think the direct was very good. A very, very large improvement from Splatoon 1 and 2, and it was cool to see. I had a lot of fun watching this when it came out, and yeah, it still comes across as very polished. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you all later.